Offside with Andrew Gunling and JJ Devaney.
Oh, yes. Caught offside from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Andrew Gunling and JJ Devaney. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you in this international break?
Yeah, we're coming out of it.
Yeah.
So we're on the other side now, as it is a Premier League weekend that awaits us. But that is a pod for another day. Tomorrow, mainly.
Yes, we'll have a Premier League pod tomorrow. But how are you getting through the international break? I have discovered City Bike, and now I'm all about City Bike.
You're one of those people.
Yeah, it's the only way I want to travel now. For those people outside of New York, City Bike is basically an app where you can pick up a bike at a depot and cycle somewhere and deposit it somewhere, and it's all just...
I'll say this. I respect you for it. You're getting a workout in. It's probably fun.
It is fun. You get to see the city in a new light.
Yeah. However, as somebody who drives in this city, because I drive to work every day, I can tell you that if I ran for mayor, my only platform would be no biking allowed in the city. I would eliminate it completely.
What? So you wouldn't...
There are just some streets. Now, the streets that have bike lanes, fine. Everyone, like, you stay in your lane, the car stays in their lane. But that's like, what would you say, 5% of the streets in Manhattan?
Well, it's a lot more than it used to be, but
that's true.
It's still not as much.
Well, I can tell you where I'm driving, there are no bike lanes. And it's just the worst.
And it's scary.
It can be. But because you have some bikers who follow the rules of the road, and then other ones who just don't give a damn. Oh, red light, but I'm on a bike, so the rules don't apply. Cars will wait. Cars will move out of my way. Like, you think you're going to kill people because they don't care. Because, like, if you're on a bike and it's just like rules don't matter. If I were running for mayor, JJ, that would be it. I'd be such a Grinch candidate.
You really would be.
No biking on my streets.
No, you don't care about carbon footprints, anything like that.
Buy an electric car. I don't care. But just no bikes.
Anyway, it took me 11 minutes to cycle up at a nice leisurely pace.
From where? Times Square?
Yeah. It was lovely. Absolutely lovely.
I'm sure it is. We have a lovely podcast that's going to be headed your way.
What a pro.
I'll tell you why it's lovely. Because a thing is happening in Columbus that you and I never expected to be happening. And that is that Save the Crew
#
appears to have worked. And it's incredible. And roughly a year ago at this time, was when we
began the campaign to save the crew.
It was basically when we found out that they were probably, what at the time felt like probably leaving. And we had Andrew Erickson on from the Columbus Post-Dispatch to talk about what exactly was happening there. And it was a grim, bleak interview. And now here we are, roughly a year later, because it was right around playoff time. And it seems like everything has changed. And sure enough, Andrew Erickson is going to come back on the show tonight to talk to us about what has happened. How did we get from point A to point B? Because it seems like it was not a straight line. So that should be really, really interesting for all you Save the Crewers out there. Also, red card, man of the match. I'm feeling good about both of mine.
I have a very interesting man of the match.
Okay.
One I did not think I would be handing out. It's to Chelsea FC. But the reason is...
You're giving this all away now. Interesting.
I'm only giving away that it's Chelsea. Huh. And I hate Chelsea.
Before we get into what we were planning on starting the show with, and that was the friendlies for the U.S. men's national team, we should say, I guess if we're giving out our women of the match, that is the U.S. women, because they have officially qualified for next year's World Cup in France. So congratulations to them. Now, they are, as we're recording, they are 20 minutes away from kickoff right now between the U.S. and Canada in a qualifier, which doesn't really matter.
No.
Both teams have qualified.
Well, it's for the CONCACAF Women's Championship Cup.
Bragging rights, I guess you could say.
And I suppose they'll want to add to their 24 goals in 4 games and just their utter dominance of the rest of CONCACAF.
Yeah, it was pretty much, not pretty much, it was literally a breeze for them. It was
not competitive.
No, it really wasn't. But
they've still done it.
Exactly. Like, it's they did exactly what they're supposed to do. They can only control how they play, and they played very well. It was never really scary for them at any point, which is what's supposed to happen. And as we know all too well in this sport, it's not what always happens. So I give them credit. And, like Carly Lloyd, Tobin Heath, Megan Rapinoe, like the star players are playing like star players. This is Julie Foudy on ESPN talking about how it feels like the U.S. women kind of have their swagger back.
You haven't seen a team play with this swagger in a long time for the United States. I mean, we've always been a country that took pride in being athletic and strong and fit, and always the challenge, which has been on the men's and the women's side, of course, has been where's that creative player? Where's the player who can break down a compact defense? And I think with the loss to Sweden in the quarterfinals of the Olympics, and we've talked a lot about this over the last 3 years, first time a U.S. team, women's team, has never made it to the medal rounds of a World Championship, a World Cup, or an Olympics. And what it did is it forced Jill Ellis to say, where are those creative players? And I need to start developing them. And so you're seeing the fruits of that labor. And Tobin Heath looking really good. Rose Lavelle, who we talked about. Lindsey Horan having a ton of confidence. Rapinoe. And really that starting 10 in front of Alyssa Nair, they're all excellent on the ball and good at getting forward.
We're back, is what she's saying.
I would agree with a lot of what she has to say there. I think swagger is too strong a term considering the opposition. I will say that Lavelle in particular has impressed me. There's a lot of other players who've come in and have looked really good, but this team, the creative ticking heart of this team is still Megan Rapinoe. Very much so. And against better opposition, you'll need more players stepping up to the plate, and basically it's very hard to judge where they're at against this opposition.
Yeah, but we will have a World Cup here next summer, and a World Cup to follow here, and it should be fun. It was a ton of fun 3 years ago.
It gave us the greatest drop you've ever had.
Oh, which one? The
Oh, you have to hit it. It's about being somewhere.
Oh, you mean this one?
Oh, in space! You were on the edge of your seat watching the game, and Carly Lloyd found herself in space. and you made
scored.
This weird, almost...
I don't know. I've always been more partial to this one.
Panenka! Yeah, that had nothing to do with anything. That was you. You were hepped up on sugar beans or whatever it was.
Let's see now. Let's get into the U.S. men as they are coming off a couple friendlies against Colombia and Peru. Now, I guess in the last go-around in September, we kind of did sort of like a stock up, stock down.
Oh, can we do that again?
Yeah, absolutely. I have exactly that in front of me. Guys who, or just general concepts that it feels like are stock up and which ones are on their way down. We'll go back and forth here. I'll give you my first one. I have more stock ups than I do stocks down.
I would agree with that too. I've called it down stock though. Rising stock and down stock.
That must be a European distinction that is made.
No,
there's just some things that our people will never see eye to eye on.
I call my broker every day and I go, check on the down stock for me. And he goes, buy high, sell low, thanks. And I hang up.
That's it. And you've made millions of dollars off of that. My first one, I actually went with Jonathan Amon. Because he kind of did what I was hoping he would do. Now, he's a teenager, and so there were clearly moments with him where you could see it's all very raw. There were times where his decision-making, you kind of hoped that he would maybe get rid of the ball a little bit earlier. There was the one opportunity against Peru early in the game when, he did a lot of the hard work. He broke through down the left and had Timothy Weah in space, but couldn't quite connect with him on the pass. But I just, like I said, leading into those games, the prospect of him being there was intriguing to me because I want more speed, I want more athleticism, and he, right away, you could see, he has those things.
I would agree with that. He does look raw, but there's that's per the reports we've been getting from Denmark. That's pretty much what his coaches have been saying and people who've seen him. But he looks a talent, Andrew. He looks like he could definitely contribute to this team.
Yeah. So he was exciting to me. What's your first one that you have?
My stock, and it has to be rising stock because people are going to go, you knew about him already. But he's playing in the fourth tier of German football. He's in Werder Bremen's reserves. Josh Sargent's touches versus Peru, they were relatively limited, but everything he did was magnificent. The 14th minute flick, which released the aforementioned Amon, was just brilliant. He's got his back to goal wide on the right-hand side, and he has the vision and the awareness to open up the play. An ordinary centre forward, and this is why I don't think he is one, when pulled out of that position, Andrew will do what? He'll try and hold the ball up on the line and bring others into play. With that quick thinking, he made a huge opportunity for the United States, and Amon overcooked that ball to Tim Weah. The 26-minute pass to Acosta, totally flown under the radar. That was just... It was Bergkamp-esque the way he played him in. It was excellent. Now, Acosta's touch was terrible, so that's why we forgot about it. But it was fantastic. 46 minutes, right before the goal, chases down a fairly ordinary ball into the box. Cruyff turns sharply and sets up way. That should have been another one. Cruyff, Bergkamp. You can see where I'm going with this. And then the goal itself. The clever run, good delivery from Acosta to give him his due, and a fine finish, wheeling in the opposite, facing the opposite direction, facing the corner flag to steer it into the bottom corner. Everything I see with him, Andrew, suggests he's more than a goals guy. Now, I should probably tone it down a little bit. He hasn't made a senior club appearance yet for anyone. But I have. This is why I'm so high on him. I think he's much more than a goalkeeper, than a goal scorer. He's definitely more than a goalkeeper. Much more than a goal scorer. I think he's a goal creator. And he's given me feelings that I don't usually get with American soccer players.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed him in this game as well. The goal that he scored, can we just talk about for a minute, like, why
doing your work on the set pieces? How great that is?
Well, it is great, but like, how come that's not a thing that just happens way more often across the sport?
I would agree with you, but I think that there is first of all, there's two reasons. There is a general laziness amongst teams about how they set up their set pieces. We saw England do the stacked formation that I saw on a US high school field 10 years ago. And everyone was like, oh, it's unbelievable. They're in a row and then they break off and da-da-da. But like you said, why isn't it done more often? Why from a set piece, aren't there more original things happening? Here's another reason. I believe the second reason. There are guys who deliver the ball so well now, that whip it in with so much pace that it becomes just a thing, like Griezmann, for example, Eriksen, for example. Just let them do it. Let them do it.
I guess.
Someone gets a flick. But
those, even the guys who do that at the level of guys like you're talking about, it still feels, I was going to say 50-50, but it's the stats probably bear out that the percentages are in the favor of a defender heading it away before it gets to an attacking player.
I would say so too.
But if you run a set piece like this, you're, I would say, almost guaranteed of. Now, I can't tell you if the shot's going to be blocked, but I feel like you're nearly guaranteed of it